Welcome to the Heal, Thrive, Dream podcast, where trauma survivors become healthy thrivers. Each month, we'll feature a theme in the trauma recovery and empowerment field. To promote your recovery, healing, and learning how to build dreams, here's your host, Karen Robinson, transformational coach and therapist.
Welcome to the Heal, Thrive, Dream podcast. Today, our guest is Timothy Stutz. Those of you who know me on this podcast know I often stumble on names, so I get really excited when I get it right. So it's Timothy Stutz. Timothy, yeah. And I'm going to read his brief bio before we start. But Timothy, the magical and mystical fairy tale wizard, educates, enchants, empowers everyone, and has authored more fairy tales than the legendary Hans Christian Andersen. He's done 181 so far. Using fairy tales, meditation, Reiki, Qigong, that's another word I've often tripped over, yoga, and everything in between for over 43 years. He's empowered tens of thousands to use their infinite soul powers to conquer life's challenges and achieve their full potential. So, Timothy, thank you so much for being on my show today.
Oh, I'm so delighted to be here with you and everyone listening, Karen.
Yes, I'm really excited for our talk because, you're the epitome of someone that's a healer. And when we work with trauma survivors, out of all the people in the world, they need the healing the most, right? And we need to have all these different therapeutic modalities from them to choose from. And I love that you offer many. The Qigong, the yoga, the Reiki, the meditation, using fairy tales and allegory work, really powerful stuff. So I'd like to start, Timothy, with asking you a question. You can always pass, but it helps because my audience is trauma survivors. It really helps the audience connect to know if my guest has survived their own traumas. And you can say as little or as much as you want about that, but I want to open that door for you to talk about a little bit.
Oh, we could go very deep there.
Just say what you're comfortable with.
My childhood was traumatic. I felt like I was walking on eggshells the entire time so as to not either get soap in my mouth from my mother or a belt across my butt from my dad. And I went to military school. I started school at age 4.5.
Wow.
And I was at the top of my class all the time. And in that military school anyway, when you were at the top of your class scholastically, they put you kind of in charge of everybody. So you were the leader of groups. So in military school, I had all this power. Starting at age 4.5, I go home and I'm powerless, which was quite interesting to try to navigate. Didn't even know I was navigating it at the time. But yeah, childhood probably had the biggest impact and was the most that I've had to unravel. There's been multiple marriages and divorces that have been traumatic. There have been many times that I was physically in so much pain that I wanted to die. So I know the mental, emotional, and physical sides of trauma and ways to alleviate that and basically erase it, get rid of it. It doesn't have to continue to affect us. It can be cleared out completely, no traces left.
I'm very curious about that and would love to hear more about that. Did your past traumas have anything to do with the work that you're doing now?
Maybe planting a seed that I wanted to help people, if anything, nothing specific. I feel very blessed and very graced. I never went searching anything that I'm doing right now. I never went searching for it. It fell into my lap in one way or another, mostly based on trauma. I laid in bed 30, 31 years old, praying for 3 days because my life had fallen apart. My marriage was over. I had a young daughter. Everything was gone. And I finally, at the end of 3 days, I just laid there and yelled out to God, okay, I've done everything that I thought I was supposed to do to be happy. I got good grades. I went to college. I got a degree. I got married. I have a wife. I had a child. I had an incredible job. And now it's all gone. If you exist, God, I need to find you. And basically, that was preceded by my mother taught me how to pray. Now I lay me down to sleep ever since I was a little boy, and I've said it every night. So if you exist, if you're real, show
Help
yourself.
me out here.
And that breakthrough of letting that out of my body and coming to that basically propelled me out of bed, and I stood in front of the mirror and had lost a lot of weight after not eating, drinking, or anything, just being in bed for 3 days crying. And I really felt the presence of Christ behind me say, I'll remake you in my image. And that started a whole new life path for me. And I remembered the prior year when I left Hawaii auditing a mortgage banking operation. The president of the escrow company whispered in my ear before I left, if you ever need a place, if you ever need a couch to hang out on and get your head together, call me. And this was the perfect moment to do that. So I picked up the phone, called her, and I was on a plane to Hawaii within a week or two. And she had bought a house, so I got more than a couch. I got a bedroom. And on the night I arrived, she said, I've got to go to work tomorrow, but here's a book. I want you to start reading it. And it was Past Lives, Future Loves by Dick Sutton. I never heard of past lives. This was like a whole new ball game to me. But as I started reading it the next morning, light bulbs went off inside of me. I started crying. Things that my daughter had said to me or done kicked in, and that started my search for God, for what life's really about, and getting to the source of things that are making life not so happy, so to say.
Well, God also puts people in our lives, and it sounds like that was a real powerful person to put in your life, not only offering you this beautiful place to kind of heal, but then also gave you that resource of that book and just space for you to heal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that led me to finding a meditation path through a very odd set of circumstances, like actually leaving my body one night spontaneously and literally dying in bed. And the person that was with me saw my body die and was freaking out. And I was watching this from outside of my body, and that kind of freaked me out. So I got back in my body and called up the therapist I was seeing at the time and basically said, help, what's going on? And that led to a meditation path. And I ended up staying with the meditation path, and I still practice it because I had such powerful experiences I couldn't understand with my mind, that I wanted to know how these things were possible. And meditation, after 2.5 years of meditation, my body started getting, and I started practicing hatha yoga. My body became very ill at one point and started to shut down completely. And I knew it needed some sort of massage work, which I'd never had a massage, but I knew my body needed something. So I started asking for references from massage therapists, and there was a conspiracy that I could not get a massage. I finally got one appointment. I finally got one appointment with a man, arrived 10 minutes early, sat in my car to allow just going up at the time the appointment was. And in the meantime, a lady walks up, knocks on his door. He double booked me with somebody, and since she knocked first, she got the appointment. So it was like this big conspiracy. I'm not going to get a massage. And right after that, a friend of mine, group of guys, we used to have breakfast once a week, and he said his wife took a Reiki treatment or a Reiki class and learned Reiki. And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "I have no idea, but it felt good when she practiced on me." And she was my yoga teacher, so I called her up and wanted to know about this. And she gave me 4 treatments over the period of a week that really, more than anything, opened my consciousness to really seeing deep inside of me what I needed to heal right then and there. What's that next step I needed to take?
Mm-hmm.
And the first experience was so peaceful and blissful that I came out and my first words were, "I want to die like that." I just felt like totally complete, like everything was heavenly. And I've been fortunate enough to hold 12 or so people as they have passed and to give them that experience when they left this world. And no matter what their experience was while they here, I know that when they're with me, when they leave, they go out totally
Peaceful.
blissful and peaceful and connected.
Wow, that's really powerful in and of itself.
Yeah, and that led me to years later after learning Reiki, my body shut down again and my legs blew up from my knees to my ankles like big balloons. I was away at a retreat and I could barely walk. And when I knew I needed some sort of movement. And about 3 months before that, in a meditative experience, I was told to take Tai Chi and I just ignored it. So when I couldn't walk, all of a sudden movement became very important to me. So when I got back from the retreat, I went through one of those handouts at health food stores and looked up people that taught Tai Chi and stuff and just made a phone call. And I was taking a Tai Chi class within a couple of weeks and I loved it so much. I learned how to teach one form and that grew into teaching more forms. So when you look back, everything that I've learned, everything that I help people with has been based on trauma. I found it based
I
on my own
know.
personal trauma.
I knew that was the answer intuitively. That's why I asked that question.
Except for writing children's stories. That didn't appear based on trauma.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure that it wasn't directly related as the way I can relate those other things and the experiences that I had either emotionally or whatever. But I owned a chocolate shop at the time. I've gone from being a certified public accountant to running a chocolate shop to all these other things that I've said. And it was in that chocolate shop that I received a box that I did not order. The UPS driver would not take it back because my name was on it. And when I opened it up, there was 50 little teddy bears in there. And being an ex-CPA and loving Hardy Boy books as a child, I decided I needed to find out where those bears really belonged and how they got to me. So I went through that whole process. But while I did that, I took one of the bears and carried it with me in my car and it rode shotgun. And I picked it up one day and looked at it in the face and said, "Who are you?" And surprising to me, I heard Poet Bear. And I thought, well, I write love poetry. I write philosophical poetry. So that just gave me I'm very creative. I mean, I opened the chocolate shop because I woke up one morning and said to my partner, first words out of my mouth, if Hershey's can sell chocolate kisses, I can sell chocolate French kisses. So that's how I got into the chocolate business. And so I took this little bear and put it in a box and made a little book of my poetry, put the two together in a box. And at that time, that was like 2.5 years before any of the major companies started selling books with stuffed animals. But mine didn't go over that well. And my mom, when I got the package together and put it on the candy shop counter to sell, my mom took one look at it and she said, "You blew it. That should have been a children's book." And I said, "Yeah, Mom, there's not one thing in my poetry about or for children." So That's not a possibility. And funny enough, 6 months later, I really got a download of the first children's book. I mean, the idea
So
came.
mom knew.
My mom knew me very well. And so that's how I started writing children's stories. I wrote that first one and then they never stopped. And that 180 some that you mentioned has now grown into 214 since I sent you that. And that's
Wow.
where I've stopped. I got a message the other day to stop writing children's stories. And shortly after that, I was gifted with something else to write, which will be, I feel, more accessible and usable to people of all ages, children starting maybe as young as 5 and adults. And it can be used in therapy. It can be used for fun. And again, it just popped into my head. I did not consciously. It's like the minute I declared, okay, I feel like I'm done writing children's stories. And the minute I acknowledge that to the universe, the next day, this new idea pops into my head. And it's like, so if you've heard of Tesla's 369 sequence, do you know of that? So
Well, a little.
Tesla says the numbers 369 are a key to the secrets of the universal energy. And there's lots of music put out on that. I mean, you can find things on YouTube and listen to it. It's very healing and relaxing, and it seems to put things in order. So being a writer, suddenly I thought, wow, 369, I'm going to write. And I started writing haiku poetry about 2 weeks before this because of something a friend posted on haiku poetry. And I've heard of it, but I never knew it was 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 syllables in the third line. And that's kind of fun. So I read what she wrote and I said, oh, I'm going to have some fun playing with this. So I wrote some neat haiku poetry. And then I talked to somebody else and learned what they were going to do with the haiku format. And then, yeah, suddenly a couple of weeks later, I think of the 369. And so I looked up and nobody has thought of using that 369 sequence in poetry. And since it is a key to the universe and since it holds a frequency which is very healing, what I've discovered is, one, the poetry flows much easier, which I don't understand, but it's the easiest thing that I've ever written, over and over. And they just come out with ideas. And what was I going to say? Yeah, it's easy. And anybody can do it, and you can use it for anything. So it's 3 syllables in the first line, 6 syllables in the second line, and 9 syllables in the third line. And then I came up with Tesla Trio Tiers. If you need another stanza, you just stack stanzas on and you can create a longer story in that same format. And so the magic of writing in that 369 brings that 369 vibration into you as you're writing the poetry. So it doesn't matter what you're writing. It doesn't matter whether it's funny, silly, to release things. You're literally aligning yourself with one of the keys of the universe when you're doing that. So I'm literally in the process of figuring how to get this out into the world and see what comes back to me from the experiences people have writing it.
Okay, so whatever you come up with, keep us up to date so we can, if you have any kind of offers or whatever you do with this incredible download that you've had, I'm happy to add it to the notes.
Great.
Now, does this mean, have you decided if you'll continue with the book clubs that you're doing?
Oh yes, everything that I'm doing, like the book club for children and parents, which includes all the stories in audio and ebook form, and a live story time at least once a month for the children. I'm thinking of doing it more than that. Once a month gatherings for parents, just to give them a space to share what's alive for them if they need ears to listen. And there's also an activity where the children visualize and create their own images of what's happening within the story, and they can send me those pictures so that I can put them together in an illustrated book of the story by the children.
That's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for parents who are interested in having their children be a part of that, or their family be a part of that, what's the best way to reach out to you about that?
Just on my website, timothystutz.com, and go to the fairy tale tab.
Okay.
And so there's information. And I'm actually doing a beta test on the book club because I've never fully released it. So right now it's at the lowest price it has been or ever will be. And all I'm looking for from people is to join, participate, and give me feedback. So I think it's the best thing that's ever been created, but getting more eyes on it with suggestions as to how it might be tweaked here and there is why I'm doing this beta test.
And what age range are the best fit for this project?
For the children to participate, probably 4 to 10, but my stories are for 0 to 110. Because even children in the womb, you're starting about 5 months. When we're in the womb, we start to resonate to the sounds outside of us, especially our mother's voice. And so when moms start reading the appropriate high energetic things to their children when they're in the womb, the child starts to resonate to that. And it's the same with playing music. You start playing wonderful music. You want your child to be a great musician. You start playing the music to them when they're in the womb. If you want them to be a great mathematician, maybe start reading mathematical stuff to them. But they're bonding to your voice. And so within my stories, everything's really constructed to be loving, inspirational, and uplifting. So that's the vibrations that you're giving your child when they're in the womb. And
How
then
wonderful is that?
Yeah. And I have a sequence of stories that you read after they've been born, like 0 to 1.5, 1.5 to 3, 3 to 5. So there's a sequence of things that young children need as a foundation for their life moving forward. So I've built that into a series of books. But literally, with 40 years of experience teaching meditation, Qigong, Tai Chi, and helping thousands of people, everything that I've ever learned in the wisdom of the ages is embedded within these children's stories in ways that children can understand and in ways that adults can understand and enjoy reading.
I think that's amazing. I really do. I'm so glad and honored to have met you to learn more about that. I also think you have another really powerful program or offering for people, and I'm hoping you'll want to talk about that a little bit. And that's your young adult healing. It's sort of like an apprenticeship. Can you talk? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the Yoda Youth Instructor Training Academy.
Yeah, say that 8 times fast and tell us more about that. I'm glad you knew what I was talking about.
Yes, it's near and dear to my heart, and the way practices have been passed down through time. So whether it's meditation or Qigong or Tai Chi or even a great carpenter, that has passed what they know down through the ages, down through their apprentices. And especially in the meditation realm and the Qigong realm, masters practice things for many, many years. And when they leave, they always want to have somebody that can continue on what they've learned. So I set this academy up to teach teens from, like, depending upon their level of maturity, anywhere from 10 years all the way to 16, 17, to learn every form of meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, that I know. And in learning those things, they will be able to be certified to take them out into the world by the time they're 18 and literally have a career, a livelihood. They can go anywhere in the world, not need any equipment, and teach. And by going through this program, they will have also resolved whatever traumas they're holding inside of them, whatever belief systems they're holding inside of them that keep them from moving forward, because there's no way you can go through this training with me without having all those things taken care of, because that's what these practices have done for me. So yeah, I want to find teens to carry on what I know. More importantly, I want to find teens that really resonate with this and want to share it the rest of their lives to help humanity and put their
It's
own
so powerful.
and put their own little
Spin.
personal
Yeah.
knowledge and experience into it. Because no matter what we learn from anybody, I feel and know. It's like my daughter. I realized after my daughter was born, she knew more about things than I did.
Because of her past lives, right? All that
Well,
experience.
just because I didn't know about past lives at that time, I just knew that, man, there's something that this little child knew. And how does she know it? Like, we're driving, she's about 2 years old, and we're driving somewhere, and all of a sudden in the back seat, she starts to describe where we're going. And I'm driving and I'm saying, no, this is not possible. She's never been there. And she's describing it perfectly. So I'm just sitting there. It's like I'm just spinning the wheels of my mind trying to figure out when she, have I forgotten? Did we take her there? And yes, we took her there when she was in the womb.
Oh,
So that really got me contemplating, thinking, when do we become aware of things? When do we really see? How do we see? Yeah, it's amazing. And so everybody, when you're learning something, you have your own unique take on it. Like I've taken things that my teachers have taught me with Qigong and come up with my own Qigong movements and practices and put them in a flow that resonates with me. So
very
yeah,
cool.
this gives teens something to keep them out of trouble. I mean, they can do this while they're going to school. They don't have to alter too much of their normal program as long as they're willing to practice and learn by the time they're 18. And it's not like they have to wait till 18. There's various aspects of this that they will become proficient at and be able to go out and teach right away. So maybe within 3 months of starting to take the course, they'll be able to go out and earn some side money doing healing practices on people.
I'm in love with that. I wish it was my idea. Because that's crazy powerful to me. What a gift. And so again, people interested in that can go to Timothy's website, and we'll have that in the show notes to explore his different programs. Because those are my favorites so far, is the book club for the children and then this teen apprenticeship opportunity. Those are two really powerful things. Now, do you have another favorite of your offerings other than the two I'm mentioning?
I have the same program I have for teens for adults that are looking for a career change or professionals that already teach some form of healing that want to add to what they teach.
Mm-hmm.
So I do the same thing. I have the same type of a training program, a little bit different for adults. And no, my other favorite program is really high end. It's for that very successful person who is out there, has no time to take a yoga class, a Tai Chi class, or meditate, but they know they need something, but they don't want to go take a class. They don't have time to take a class. I have a 1-year program for anybody like that where they meet with me for 1.5 hours a day, 3 times a week. And then we have a longer meeting quarterly and every 6 months, where I literally hold their hand for 1 year to accelerate their life on all levels. So it's not just about learning movements and things. When we do yoga, meditate, Tai Chi, we're actually stimulating and circulating the chi in our body, which clears out the old stuff in various harmonious ways, magically.
So is this your signature program? Would you say?
I guess if you want to call it that.
Yeah, it's high level that you're paying more for the hand holding and
You're
being
paying more
customized for that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everything is specifically customized all along the route. And
Okay. Well, that sounds amazing too. What's my discount?
it would be quite substantial.
That really does sound amazing.
Very
I'm
good.
in an energetic healing certification course this year right now. It's very pricey, but I have been really enjoying it.
Nice.
I have six pillars of healing in my trauma work. And the last pillar that I added was energetic healing. I already had the spiritual, the physical, the emotional, the mental, the relational. The energetic is where I am putting a lot of my time in. I say energetic, but also spiritual, because it's all connected anyway.
It's all connected, yes.
It's all connected. We're just one human we're one spirit with a human body. But I really love looking and learning about all the ways to heal. It's powerful. And if one thing doesn't work for a survivor, this other path may work. And sometimes it's a path where we have to try lots of different things to get this powerful effect. And so I think anyone connecting with you offer so many different healing modalities. That's very special. Because that was a lot of time, money, and effort on your part to learn all those things.
Yeah, I never thought about it at the time, but
Yeah.
I even created, it's like I love Tai Chi so much, and one of my favorite forms to practice is called the animal frolics, which was the original form of energetic exercise movements ever taught, like 400 years before any yoga or any Tai Chi. It was the very original, and it was originated by a Chinese doctor who, out in nature, just watched how animals moved. And so he created movements mimicking animals. And he found that people, and himself first, and then other people that did these movements pretty much healed everything. And so he invented the movements of a crane, a bear, a deer, a tiger, and a monkey.
And you teach this as well as part of your Tai Chi?
I do, but I have changed it for children, because I also met a lady who was an international classical singer, and she taught me various forms of Qigong that were only taught to the royalty of China. The peasants never learned these. And so one of those is a dragon exercise. So to the 5 normal animals, I added a dragon. I added dragon exercises. And then children, gorillas pat themselves a lot. So there's an old form of Qigong originated back in the 800s that covers medical Qigong, energetic Qigong, and martial arts. And the one thing that's common to all 3 of those is patting your body in a certain rhythm, covering all the meridians, all the major cavities. And I do that ever since I've learned it. I do it every day. It's wonderful. It feels good. Plus, you're putting vibrations into your body with the intention of healing things. So
And do you do any affirmations with it?
No, you pretty much have to stay focused because of the rhythm that you're doing. So just the
Okay.
affirmation that when you're starting is you're doing it with the intentions of putting healing vibrations into your body.
And it
And
also sounds a little meditative if you're focusing on the rhythm.
oh, it's very meditative. You're focused. There's two different rhythms that you're hitting your body with, and you start with the palm of your hand and other parts of your body and hit with a fist because they're more susceptible to that. And in the martial arts form, he actually takes you to, after your fist, people start hitting themselves with a bamboo stick. And after that, an iron rod. I have no intentions of ever doing that. I don't care. But, I watched a video of the man that originated this, and he was in nothing but a loincloth. And I knew that if I was behind him, nobody could hurt me. I don't care how many people were coming. He was actually featured on a PBS documentary where somebody, I forget the name of the guy, that famous PBS broadcaster went to China and studied herbs and did a series on it. And he was featured in that series, and at one point he had 12 guys pushing on him. They were all in a line behind him. They were all pushing on him, trying to move him. They couldn't move him. He stuck out one finger and put them all flying in different directions.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so that's the power all of us have inside of us if we want to tap into it. So even if we're not tapping into it at that level, just to tap into to keep our own body healthy is wonderful.
Amazing. If you have a moment and can send us a video of any of that, I could add to the show notes. I think people listening to our episode today are going to learn things they've never heard of before.
Yeah,
and so that's very powerful to me.
Yeah, I took that. So those animal frolics, because I wanted them relatable to children. And you mentioned cost. I found the man who made Disney's original animal costumes before they opened Disneyland. And since I have created this poet bear, which morphed into Blissberry Bear, I asked him to make me a costume so that I could get into the costume and go out and go to hospitals and walk in and heal kids just by the vibration. And anyway, he made me a Blissberry Bear costume. And while I was there, on the back of his door, he had a deer costume. And my mind suddenly thought, oh, I've got a bear, I've got a deer, the 5 animal frolics. And I asked him if I could borrow the deer costume. He said, well, you can buy it for very little. I'm going out of business and I have no use for it. So I got 7 costumes, really Disney quality, of a bear and a deer. And since a crane, you can't find a real crane costume, I substituted an eagle, a monkey, a gorilla, a dragon, and a tiger, really cool costumes. And I did the 5 animal frolics in those costumes so that the kids could follow along and have animals to practice with. And magically found a producer in Hollywood that liked what I was doing, and for hardly any money put together a shooting session for me, got me somebody to edit this all, and that happened to be the son of Billy Barty. I don't know if you know him, but he was a famous midget in Hollywood. So his son actually did all of the editing and put in special effects, and it was a blast. I never envisioned anything.
Wow. Is this on sale? I don't remember seeing this on your website.
Yeah, it's on my website.
So it's a series of videos.
It's a series of lessons within a course.
Okay.
Each of the animals practices is like 4 minutes long to hold the children's attention span. And then there's a longer practice that's maybe 14 minutes. And then there's lots of sessions introducing the history of it, parent guidelines and suggestions for getting the most use out of it, and things showing the proven medical, physical, mental benefits of Tai Chi and yoga and doing a practice on a regular basis. I mean, I'm 73, and in most respects, I feel like I'm 23. There's parts that still feel like they're getting to be 73, but for the most part, I'm always very healthy, happy, normal blood pressure, pulse rate like 55 when I'm active. Yeah, and my mind
Well,
is under.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you're healthy so you can keep creating. You're a powerhouse of creativity. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think we need to start wrapping up because I have a client session here soon and I want to, but I think, and this is putting you on the spot a little bit. So if you need a second to get a thought together, that's okay.
Uh-huh.
So with my clients listening or my audience and your audience listening today, for anyone that hasn't really started a healing journey and they are just hanging on by a thread, maybe there's a recent trauma or maybe a medical diagnosis or just some sort of struggle, be a relationship. So they're kind of hurting. Picture someone that's hurting physically, mentally, spiritually. What's piece of wisdom that you could leave them with today?
Remember
Easy, right?
No, really, remember earlier I said there's been several times in my life where I was in so much physical pain that I wanted to die.
Yes.
All I did, and the last time I had that, I was in so much pain I couldn't even move. I mean, if I moved 1 inch one way or the other, it was like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I start both of those times, I literally, the whole time that was going on, feel whatever pain there was, I was repeating mantras to myself. And the last time I went to bed, I was awake all night in pain, repeating mantras, and at some point I fell asleep. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, I woke up as if nothing had happened. All gone, completely. No trace of anything. That's what happened the first time, too. So, my recommendation to anybody and everybody is repeat whatever high vibrational name, a name of God you relate to. Doesn't matter what religion you follow, use your own, whatever you relate to. Focus your mind and repeat that over and over and over again throughout the day. Whenever you don't have to be thinking, doing something else. When you're walking from room to room, focus your attention at the soles of your feet. Feel your feet hitting the ground. Be present. Be present with everything you're doing. And again, if you don't have to be thinking about something productive, repeat whatever peace, love, God over and over and over again, because it sends that vibration through your body and miracles happen. And it's easier. My other recommendation is start meditating. While you're doing that, start meditating. Even if it's just 1 minute a day. I have guided meditations on a website in the freebie section. There's a very powerful one. It's called Qigong. You repeat it while you go to bed at night, laying down. How simple is that? You're already going to sleep. So you just repeat 4 phrases while you're going to bed at night. And that literally can heal anything and everything. On my website, I give the history of it and where it came from. But there are simple things like that we can all do that bring us present. So we have incredible healing powers ourselves. So when we start repeating peace, love, God, it brings that vibration into our body. Those vibrations start shifting whatever's out of balance. And we just have to hold on to that because life can be and is very traumatic at times, and it feels like there is no way out. And we will be shown a way out just by doing simple things like that.
Simple, and for those who have no or limited finances, these
Yeah,
things are free.
They cost nothing, zero.
Yeah.
And the simplest things really are the most powerful, but they do require us to practice them. And we practice.
Oh yeah, that little thing.
We don't realize we practice being upset a lot. We practice thinking about the things that bother us a lot.
That's right.
So
That's right.
we just have to practice thinking about something else that gives us different results.
Well, I think that the wisdom you've offered, the one word mantra over and over, God, peace, love, the universe, Jehovah, like whatever, Jesus, like whatever word feels empowering to you, and just holding on to that while grounding yourself. That's really powerful. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's lovely being here. In fact, I think being with you today prompted me this morning while I was cleaning the swimming pool. I started thinking of Tesla trios related to trauma. So as I started rolling around in my mind, what can I create relating to trauma? So I'll send you a few of those I've played with so far.
Beautiful. I would love to read those. And maybe I'll come up with some of my own once I understand your style.
Yeah, with you being an expert in the field, that's what you live and breathe. You can create a whole lot of things, a whole lot of Tesla trios that are very impactful.
Well, Tim, I don't want to say goodbye to you, but I'm going to have to if I'm going to go on and help my next clients or empower them, I should say.
I so love being with you, and thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you too, and stay in touch.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening in today. Please join us next week, same day and time. Also, I would love for you to check out my website, healthrivedream.com.